Record books, you better not copyright claim this. This is just a sneak peek of Diary of a Wimpy Kid Getaway by Jeff Kinney. December, Sunday. The worst part of having someone to tell you about their vacation is trying to pretend you're happy for them, because no one wants to hear about all the fun they didn't have. Yawn. The only vacations I want to hear are the ones that went where things went wrong. That way I don't feel bad for missing out. When my family just got back from vacation, believe me, if I could have stayed home, I would have. But I didn't have a choice. A few weeks ago, this vacation wasn't even supposed to happen. We were just having a normal December, and I was really looking forward to Christmas. But Mom and Dad were getting all stressed out about everything we had to do to get ready for the holidays. We were way behind on decorating the house, and nothing was going the way it was supposed to. I'm sure we could have got our act together in time for Christmas, but one night an ad came on TV and that totally turned our holidays upside down. Escape the luxury. Escape the paradise. The commercial was for this place called Isla de Corrales, which is where Mom and Dad went for their honeymoon. And the reason I know that is because every time an ad for that place comes on TV, the two of them get all kissy-faced. Smooch. It makes me uncomfortable thinking about Mom and Dad before they had us kids, and I wouldn't have to if Mom didn't break out their honeymoon album every year on their anniversary. The night after the ad came on, Mom and Dad made an announcement. They said that this year we were gonna skip Christmas and all go to Isla de Corrales instead. When I asked how we were gonna get our gifts to the resort, Mom said the trip was our gift. I thought that sounded like a terrible idea, and I was surprised Dad was on board with it. He usually doesn't like to spend a lot of money, and I was sure this resort was gonna cost a fortune. But he said he was sick of the cold weather and he wanted to escape to someplace warm. Personally, I don't have a problem with cold weather. In fact, generally speaking, the worse it is outside, the happier I am. Sip. I figured Manny and Roger would help me talk some sense into Mom and Dad, but we'd put a stop to this idea. But those guys weren't any help at all. Clap, clap, clap. So I had to accept that we weren't going to have a normal Christmas at home. But what I really didn't like was that we had to fly to this place. I'd never been on a plane before, and I wasn't really crazy about the idea of locking myself in a metal tube. Nobody else seemed worried, though, and 2 weeks later, on the night when we should have been hanging up stockings sitting around the campfire watching Christmas specials, we were packing our suitcases for this island getaway. Monday. We left the house around 8 o'clock on the morning of Christmas Eve. Dad was pretty uptight because he wanted to leave an hour earlier, but Mom said he was being ridiculous and we'd get to the airport in plenty of time. It was only about 20 degrees outside, but Roger was already dressed for a vacation. It turned out Dad was right, and we should have left earlier. Apparently, Christmas Eve is one of the busiest travel days of the year, so the roads were choked with families driving to see their relatives, and nobody really seemed to be in the Christmas spirit either. Airport, 1.5 miles. Honk, honk, honk. What made things a lot worse was when it started to snow. After that, things slowed to a crawl. Mom and Dad started arguing over what time we should have left, and Dad almost missed the exit for the airport. He had to cut across 3 lanes for the traffic, which didn't look easy. When we reached the airport, the main parking lot was full. That meant we had to park in the economy lot, which is pretty far away. Dad said he'd drop the rest of us off at the curb with all the luggage, and then come and meet us after he parked. When we got to the passenger drop-off area, it was complete chaos. We tried to unload our bags, but the cops weren't letting anyone stop for more than 30 seconds. That just stressed everyone out and made things worse. Tweet, 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 tweet. I had to get back to the van so I could help Dad with the rest of the bags. Ordinarily, that kind of thing would have been Roger's job, but since he was dressed for 80-degree weather, he got out of it. He was lucky he did, too. When we got to the gate for the economy lot, Dad couldn't reach the ticket from his window, so he made me get out of the car to grab it. Unfortunately, I didn't notice that there was a giant slush puddle on the side of the car until it was too late. Splursh. After we parked, we rolled our bags to the nearest shuttle stop, which wasn't a lot of fun. Roll, roll, roll. The sign said the shuttle bus to the main terminal came every 10 minutes, but there was no room for us in the bus shelter, so we had to wait outside in the freezing cold. Chatter, chatter. 20 minutes went by without a bus, and Dad started getting really anxious about the time. He said we're just gonna have to walk to the terminal, which was about a mile away. I would have tried to convince Dad to wait a little longer, but my sock was starting to turn to ice, and I didn't want to get frostbite. Sure enough, once we got about 100 feet from the shelter, the shuttle bus pulled into the parking lot. We tried to get the driver to stop, but he just blew right by us. Vroom. So we ran to the shuttle stop, but we didn't make it back in time. Vroom. Now Dad was really worried about missing our flight. I told him maybe missing the flight wouldn't be the worst thing that happened, but he didn't seem to be in the mood to hear what I had to say. By the time we got to the terminal, we were both soaking wet and miserable. So when a pickup truck almost hit us in the crosswalk, it made Dad really mad, and he let the driver know. Nick kick. That just made the driver mad, and he pulled his truck over and stepped out of his vehicle. We didn't stick around long enough to talk things over with this guy, so we ran in the opposite direction and blended in with some people staying on the sidewalk until the coast was clear. Cough, cough. Dad told me I could learn less from this, which was to never lose your temper and do something stupid. But I took away a different lesson. When healthies get in trouble, healthies run. The rest of the family was waiting inside the entrance to the terminal. Mom wanted to know what took us so long, and Dad wanted to know why she hadn't gotten in line with Manny and Roderick and held a place for us. It took 20 minutes for us to get through the check-in line, but when Dad put our big suitcase on the scale, the person at the counter said it was too heavy and it was going to cost extra money to check it. But Dad said the airline was ripping us off and we weren't going to give them an extra nickel. So we took some clothes out of the suitcase and stuffed them into our carry-on bags. By the time we got everything sorted out, we had half an hour to get to the gate before our flight started boarding. And when we got to the security area, it was a total zoo. There were 2 lines, one for families and one for business travelers. I guess Dad usually gets to go through the business lane when he travels for work, so he didn't seem too happy about being stuck with the rest of us in the family lane. Business lane. Anytime you add the word family to something, you know things are going to be bad. And just me, I've been to enough family restaurants to know what I'm talking about. Restaurant. Clink. Family restaurant. We waited in the security line a long time, and we finally made it to the front. But then some kid a few rows behind us started pressing the buttons on the poles that hold the barriers together. All of a sudden, there was nothing keeping the line separated, and for a second, no one moved. But then things completely fell apart. By the time the security agents got all the zip barriers reconnected, we ended up back at the back of the line, and the family with the kid who caused all the trouble was at the front. Now Mom and Dad were really stressed because our flight was supposed to leave at any minute. Dad begged one of the security agents to let us go to the front, but he didn't seem too sympathetic. I thought we were going to miss our flight, so I didn't really see the point of going through security, but Dad said that sometimes they leave the gate open until the last second, but we still might make it. We finally got to the front of the line, and we put our bags on the conveyor belt. Then we took off our coats and shoes and put them into some plastic bins. Manny saw what the rest of us were doing, and he started taking off his clothes too. Luckily, Mom noticed in time and stopped him before he could go any further. Toss. Manny wasn't finished causing problems, though. Apparently, he thought the conveyor belt was some kind of ride, and he was really upset when he found out that it wasn't. The people behind us were getting frustrated that we weren't moving, but we were being held up by the guy in front of us. He had to remove everything he had on that was metal, and it was taking him forever. Plink. Remove metal for X-ray machine. Roderick told me the machines could see through your clothes and that someone checks the screen to make sure you're not trying to sneak by with anything dangerous. All I can say is I wouldn't want to be the person with that job. It turns out the X-ray machine that sees through your clothes is only for grown-ups, and kids go through a metal detector instead. Still, I wasn't gonna take any chances. Beep. Once we got through security, we grabbed our stuff from the conveyor belt and took off. Our gate was down on the lower level, so we had to take the escalator. We couldn't even do that without causing a major problem. Manny's stuffed animal got stuck in the bottom of the escalator, and he had to press the emergency stop button so Mom could pull it free. Press. Dad checked his watch and we said we still might make it, and we ran for our gate. But the gate was all the way at the other end of the terminal, and we knew we couldn't make it in time on foot. Just then a cart for handicapped passengers came along, and Dad stopped and asked the driver if we could hitch a ride, and the rest of us got on board before she could say no. Alright guys, we finished the sneak peek, and make sure to enter the giveaway below, and I'll see you next time.